Yo guys, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our Bajheera official merchandise page on Designed by Humans. We've been adding a bunch of new stuff to it, and I think some of the new designs and some of the new styles are pretty awesome. Some funny ones too. Definitely encourage you guys to take a moment and check this out if you haven't already. Designed by Humans often runs lots of seasonal sales, and I know you can get 15% off right now on there, so if you're looking to pick up some games and gains or Bajheera's Army merch, definitely be sure to head over to our link in the description, check that out and show it some love. Yo, what's up guys, Bajheera here. So for this video I want to take you through just some of the basics of where my character is and what I'm doing in the TBC pre-patch. Very excited to be back in Classic. I'm super pumped for TBC. Really had a good time on the beta. Enjoyed my time in Classic Vanilla as well, and even though we had to go back and get some work done in Modern WoW, in BFA at the time, pick up another Rank 1 title, Corrupted Gladiator Bajheera. Check out the montage, of course. I think this is a great time to dive back into Classic. Just in terms of the production schedule for Modern WoW, you know, WoW's chilling kind of right now in Shadowlands. So the fact that hype is building leading into TBC is a perfect time to hop in. So if you guys are wanting to jump into Classic WoW, do it, man. You can just boost the character to 58, basically use this next like week or so, week and a half to level your character up and get ready to dive into Burning Crusade leveling and kick some butt in Burning Crusade. Things I'm looking forward to in BC particularly are the fact that they do have arenas. So we're going to be farming up BGs for honor, farming up the arenas for arena points is what they're called, getting yourself some sweet arena loot, and basically just kicking butt in PvP. The raids should be fun. I think heroic dungeons could be fun, but the cool thing is you don't really have to PvE for loot, and you don't have to spend your entire life in Battlegrounds in order to get PvP gear. So should be a good fit, right? For me, it's like, yeah, I think one of the limitations of Classic was the fact that you really did have to just like spend your entire life in Battlegrounds in order to get rank and then be able to buy loot, you know, once you achieve that ranking for gold. But in BC, honor is a resource, like, you know, it's a currency. You can just buy loot with that. And, you know, arena points are a currency. You can buy loot with that, provided you get high enough rating, which is cool. I like that a lot. So I think TBC is going to have a little bit more staying power for me. Very much looking forward to grinding it out. But anyway, that's just kind of the intro for my thoughts on TBC in general. We can dive into what I'm doing in particular for TBC pre-patch. So just to bring you guys up to speed on where my gear is, I pretty much entered TBC pre-patch in like what phase 1 gear, right? Like phase 1, phase 2, basically kind of just dungeon gear from getting ready for Molten Core and then doing some Molten Core loot, getting some Molten Core sort of crafted epics. So we'll take a look. Got Lionheart Helm, crafted by Asmon, pretty cool. I do have the Onyxia Tooth Pendant from Onyxia, but these are some new shoulders. So I used to have these guys, just the Shoulders of Valor is what I started my honor grind with. But now I do have the Field Marshal's plate shoulder guards, or shoulder, yeah. And one thing I should mention is that one of the things that you want to do in BC pre-patch is farm BGs for marks and for honor. Now, if you have good gear, some people are just capping their honor for the purpose of being able to buy gear like as soon as possible, level 70. So they want to get marks, they want to get honor. That way they can, you know, use the marks and honor to buy gear, but also turn in extra marks for extra honor. So you can get a lot of gear right off the bat in BC if you want to save up your stuff. So if you have good gear in Classic, you might want to do that. For me, I don't have good gear in Classic, and I think it's fun to do BGs now and get loot now, and then do more BGs later and get more loot later. And the first day of pre-patch, honor was pumping as if you were level 70. Then the next day, they nerfed it down to 10% of that, which was brutal. But then they buffed it to 2 times the nerf rate, so it's like a little better. So you can still farm like 1 piece of gear per day if you're like really on the grind, winning games and stuff. So that's cool. So I'm like, you know what? We're gonna get really good honor at 70. I'd rather have some fun in pre-patch, get some loot, get the full Grand Marshal set, you know, be looking cool, be powerful leveling. So that's what I'm doing, just as a small aside to what is happening with my gear. So I did get the shoulders, which is good. I'm almost to the 3 set where Intercept will have a 5-second reduced cooldown. That'll be sweet. I've got my stone skin gargoyle cape. I'm not sure if I'm gonna upgrade this. There's a cloak from AB that I could grab that I've heard that would be good for just honor stuff because I'm not really doing any kind of raids. Not really interested in any kind of PvE right now. Just kind of want to pump the PvP and have that be that. I got this thing from, was this Dire Maul or something? I don't know. I think it's from Dire Maul. So we're into like dungeon blues, boys. But it's whatever. It gives me some crit. It's fine. We're gonna replace this ASAP. But that's what I got to get the chest piece. I think I'll probably try to get the chest piece today. I got these guys to give me some more hit. Apparently you need like a ton of hit for PvP. I'm missing a ton of attacks still. But I wear these for the hit, but if I wanted just more strength, I could pop these bad boys on. Show you guys the weapon in a second. I did get the Stronghold gauntlets crafted, so, you know, once again, I think that the Grand Marshal gloves are probably better. But these do give me that disarm duration reduced, which is nice. Get a little bit of crit, a little bit of stam, so I'm holding on to these for now. Just not a piece that I'm like in a rush to replace, maybe later on. Do have the Onslaught Girdle, which is an awesome piece that I got early on in Classic. It's going to last me a long time, from what I understand. Ton of strength, a little bit of stam, crit hit. Love to see it. Got to replace these legs. Need to do more Warsong Gulch for more Warsong marks. I think I need 30. The main limiting factor right now is definitely Honor, though. Honor is the limiting factor. You're going to get a lot of marks. I'm going to be banking marks from Arathi Basin quite a bit, so I think there's probably some in my bank or my mail right now, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. Need a lot of AB marks for this other gear, but could be farming up some Warsong if we have time for that. Get some new legs, that'd be fine. This is a nice welcome upgrade because I was wearing these before. Master Cannoneer boots. I mean, they got strength stam, but these are the big boys. Big armor, strength, agility, stam, hit rating. I think there's hit rating on a lot of this gear. There's hit rating on the shoulders. There's hit rating on the boots. So that's bumped my hit rating up quite a bit, which I hope will help in PvP. I do not like missing attacks. It's funny. I'm not used to it from playing Modern WoW. I was like, what the? I want my abilities to work. I want my rage. But yeah, got those bad boys. Pretty nice. My rings, not great. Not great rings, but maybe we can find some. I think you can buy Don Julio's band from AV once I get a bit more honor, so that we could do that if I need to. Trinkets, standard. Insignia of the Alliance, Hand of Justice. So I used to use this one when I was using Axe, when I was playing with my Spinal Reaper, but that first day of pre-patch, when the honor was unnerfed, we were able to go into AV, you know, win every game in like 6 minutes, just farm, and we were able to afford the Grand Marshal's Claymore, this big boy, this wonderful, powerful, insane weapon. It's not the most crazy weapon in the game. Obviously, there's like some raid gear that's more wild than this for sure, especially from like Nax and stuff. However, this is like an iconic weapon, man. Like when you think about Classic Warrior, you think about the gigantic Grand Marshal's Claymore, full Grand Marshal set, slamming people. So that's kind of a fun way to cap out Classic for me, with getting the full Grand Marshal set, even just using it for a little while and then using it for leveling. That's just kind of fun. So I'm not worried about honor grinding later on. You guys know I love BGs, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, getting this weapon was awesome. And it was almost like, well, this might be the only piece I get when honor was like super nerfed. But they did a good job. Devs did a good job turning around and being like, all right, we'll give you the double honor. And then it's like AB weekend right now, and it's like AV weekend next weekend. So should be able to farm a little bit more honor. Go into BC with a full set, and maybe just a little bit of honor banked up too. That'll be great. But yeah, I want to go through the gear first. I think one of the really big important things that I want to talk about in this video are my talents. Now, as I always say with like talent stuff, this is what I'm doing right now. It's not necessarily what I'd categorically recommend in every situation, especially because there's like a lot of different builds to try for different stuff. And I think right now I'm just kind of experimenting, but I'll show you guys the deep arms build that I'm playing. So we just pop the talents open here. We could start with arms, but what I'm actually going to do is start with Prot and Fury, because it's very simple. My Prot and Fury talents are very simple with this build. I put 3 points in Tactical Mastery because I don't think in TBC that I will be able to play any specialization for PvP that does not have Tactical Mastery. A lot of the things that you need Tactical Mastery for right now in pre-patch are not really in the game. Like Spell Reflect, I think is the main one for me. I really hate being out of rage in Classic. I know it's a little bit slower in general, but just not being able to press buttons feels bad. So maybe I'm a noob for doing this, but I gotta live my life, man. I do put 5 out of 5 points in Cruelty. Another reason I should mention why I'm playing this spec in particular is because I don't think that there's like as nice of a spec that you can do at level 60 for pre-patch, so I figured I'd play, you know, this build for 2 weeks and have fun with it and pre-patch and then swap things up. And I could go to like a little build calculator and find some other stuff to do, but let me just finish talking about this one. I'll tell you what I'm up to. So I'm going deep arms, boys. Deep. We put 5 out of 5 deflection just for the parry. I don't really like this one too much. I don't like this one too much. Bang. We'll just parry people. And increase the RNG. These are just mega RNG talents. Parry, RNG, Iron Will, RNG, resist, stun, and charm effects. You'll love to see it. Gotta go with the 2 overpowers. I do want to have rage, so anger management helps. It helps, I think, with your decay out of combat, your rage decay out of combat, but generating 1 rage while in combat is kind of nice. Like, sometimes you're like, oh man, I just need enough rage to intercept this guy, but I only have, you know, a teensy bit, and it'll kind of tick up over time, then you can kind of get that intercept, or pummel, or whatever, you know. Just kind of helps with that rage generation. That's kind of what I like to do. Deep wounds, you gotta have it. Big weapon damage bleeds. It makes your crits juicy. Whenever you crit, somebody goes, it'll make them bleed. It's cool. And then Impale, huge for warriors. It makes your crits hit harder. And you do hit pretty freaking hard as a warrior sometimes. It's nice. 5 out of 5 2-handed weapon specialization. There are some builds, like if you really wanted to go deep into Fury as well, like if you wanted to try to get sweeping strikes and enrage as Fury. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work when you're going to get Mortal Strike and this. I don't know if you have enough points for like TBC pre-patch level 60. But if you're going to, you'd probably shave points off of this. Like you'd doing a real slim build. It'd be like a 31-point build. And once again, I could hop in the calculator and see, but I'm pretty sure you don't get very many points of enrage anyway. Death Wish, they actually swapped Death Wish and Sweeping Strikes for TBC. So you can have Death Wish now as arms, which is pretty pumper. Take that. And whatever weapon you're using, go ahead and grab that. So since we got the Grand Marshal's Claymore, we hit that 15 gold respec. Hurt. That's a lot of gold. Money's tight, boys. Money is tight on Classic. Maybe I should trade some gold from Modern WoW into Classic. Yo, hit me up. Need some gold on Sarg. Got some gold on Fairlena. Let me know. Hit me up. But 5 out of 5 sword spec for sure. That little sword proc is pretty devastating, actually. It procs, I mean, like when it procs, you notice it. And it doesn't really proc infrequently, I feel like, in BGs. You pair that up with Hand of Justice. When it was crit, I was going the extra crit trinket with the crit from Axe, but with the sword, I use the extra proc because it's an extra proc of an attack. Makes sense to me. Absolutely want to improve intercept. This one makes intercept a 20-second cooldown with that set bonus that I'm about to get my next piece. It'll be a 15-second cooldown. You'll be just zipping all over the map, stunning people. It's going to feel really good. I did put 1 point in improved hamstring. Now, you could put more points in improved hamstring, and I think I might later on. But the build I'm doing right now is kind of a silly one, and I'll tell you why. These other points are all pretty standard. The silly thing is is coming up. Blood Frenzy, this is like a PvE thing, but it is kind of nice that it increases all physical damage to the target. So if you have this on a target in BGs, everybody does more physical damage to them. So, I mean, it's, you know, you got a Mortal Strike, they're taking extra physical damage if you got them sundered up. I mean, you can bring down some big boys with this thing. So this gives Rend some use, but Rend is not a damaging ability. It's just a debuff, basically. It's just another Sunder, basically. But this is kind of cool. I like it. And you need points to get into the Endless Rage, so you're just kind of putting points in everything that has any value anyway. Obviously, taking Mortal Strike, you need Mortal Strike anyway. Like, you should, even if you're doing like a really thin distribution of arms points to get Mortal Strike, this is what you want. This is the big boy. You love to see that. Second Wind, I don't take Blood Frenzy because we don't have enough points for it, but Second Wind's actually pretty nice. Whenever you're struck by a stun or immobilized, like any kind of root, you're just going to sit there, generate rage, and generate your HP back too. So I think this is better than Blood Frenzy anyway. Maybe eventually, once you can, you'll get points in both. But yeah, this is nice. I like this one because you're rooted a lot. You are rooted a lot, trust me. So getting some HP and getting some rage back so that, like, you get rooted, you just sit there in that root like a good little boy, and when you come out of it, you can intercept somebody because they've given you a bunch of rage, so it's pretty cool. Intercept costs 10 rage. This gives you 20. Walk up there, you have enough rage for intercept and a hamstring. It's nice. But this is the thing that's wacky, okay? I don't really recommend improved Mortal Strike. It reduces the cooldown of your Mortal Strike by like 0.2 seconds per talent point, then increases the damage it causes by 1% per talent point. I mean, there are less helpful talents out there, but this one is a lot of investment for not like a ton, but it doesn't really feel that bad. It doesn't really feel that bad. That might be like TBC heresy to say that, but I'm kind of enjoying it. I don't think you take this later on, but right now with level 60, I feel like it's actually an okay point spend, because then you get to endless rage, where you generate 25% more rage from damage dealt. So, like I said, this build is kind of all about like going deep arms, but mostly because I like to have rage. It's hard to get in rage with the point spread that you got, I think, right now, and endless rage feels kind of good, because I don't have like crazy gear. I mean, we're getting geared. We're getting some Grand Marshal stuff. We're getting there. So generating some nice rage off of our attacks is real nice. So I can actually press my buttons, and it just synergizes nicely with improved Mortal Strike, because if you can press Mortal Strike every 5 seconds, I mean that's some pretty consistent damage, and that's pretty consistent debuffing for people. So that's pretty good. I like it. But that's my talent build that we're doing right now. People have been asking me quite a bit what I'm doing. I love telling them I'm playing deep arms, but now you actually know exactly what I'm doing and why. Once again, I'm kind of a TBC noob, so I don't think that this build is necessarily the best thing to do. I got a lot of testing, a lot of practice to do, for sure, a lot of learning, a lot of research. Learning from people who actually know what they're doing, but this has been fun for me so far, so hey, if you want to give it a try, go for it, man. I like it. Now, another thing that I get asked about quite a bit is my macros. So I think we've made a macros video about Classic before, and I don't know if I want to go into every single macro and read it all out loud, because this video is going to be about 2 hours long, and I got legs to train today, so I don't know about that. The main thing for a macro is if you can follow this basic setting, right? You do a show tooltip with the ability that you want to press, or that you want to show on the tooltip. So if it's intercept, you show intercept. You slash cast the stance that it requires. You slash cast the ability that you want. In this case, I also have, like, my mobility stuff, I also have slash cast hamstring, because you can only have one global cooldown per macro, and everything on Classic is pretty much on global for Warrior, so just be aware of that. This does work though, because like it'll intercept you, and then once you reach it, you press the button again, it'll hamstring them. And you want to pretty much put anything that you're actually trying to attack somebody with, you want to put start attack in like literally every macro that you have. But this is an example of that. There's not a whole lot of like weird macros. You'll notice that like I'll have like start attack, Mortal Strike, cast Mortal Strike, right? I'll have start attack, like overpower or something, right? Nothing in here is too crazy. But a lot of these macros are just show the tooltip for the ability, slash cast the ability, and start attack it. I'm trying to think if there's anything special. I mean, like I have like my trinket, just show tooltip, use 13. So whatever trinket I have bound here, it'll show that and use it. Eventually, you're going to want to have like an equip shield macro, right? So you slash equip your weapon, slash equip your shield. There may be a better way to do that, but I mean, eventually I'm going to have this showing spell reflect, and it's going to be like this, where I show tooltip spell reflect, I equip my shield, or one-hander, equip my shield, go into maybe D stance or battle stance, because you can reflect in battle stance, and then you cast, instead of shield block, it's spell reflect. But this works with shield block just fine. So it involves like basically like how I play Classic is like you can have a button to swap to battle stance, and then you have all your abilities on battle stance bar, right? I don't have any of my bars changed from my stance. All I have is macros that are like, okay, let me find like the whirlwind one, for example. Like the macro for whirlwind is like, okay, go into berserker stance, cast whirlwind, and start attack. And then if I wanted to overpower somebody, I'd be like, okay, go into battle stance, overpower, and start attack. I want to disarm somebody, okay, go into defensive stance, disarm them, start attack. So when an ability requires a certain stance, I have the macro to go into that stance and then use the ability, rather than pressing D stance and then 7 to disarm them, right? I just press 7 and it disarms them because then you go into D stance and press disarm. And then in the situation of, okay, well, this ability requires a stance and a certain weapon. It's okay, so you go, all right, well, equip the certain weapons, go into the stance, use the ability. That's basically it. I probably should put just because I notice, should put a start attack on those bad boys. So that's the basic layout for the macros in general. And that's a situation for like all these guys. Like this is not a really thing. This is like the charge one, right? So it follows the same pattern. Show tooltip for the ability that I want it to show the tooltip for. Go into the appropriate stance for the ability. Cast the ability. Then here's hamstring, but you know what I'm seeing here. It doesn't have a start attack. These are the new macros that I forgot to put start attack in. There you go. Get that start attack in there. That's the format. That's the format for all of these. Thunderclap. Go into battle stance, which is where Thunderclap requires. Cast Thunderclap, and start attack. So that's how I write my macros for Classic. Nothing crazy. There is some freaky stuff. That's like all this. Show tooltip, no combat charge. So depending on whether I'm in combat, it'll show charge or intercept, and depending on whether I'm in combat, it'll go charge. If I'm not in combat, it'll intercept. If I am in combat, I'm not using that right now, but I'd like to have it just showing, right? But anyway, don't freak out about that right now. I'm not even really using that much, so don't freak out. Eventually, you're going to want to have pummel, like, focus macros, because TBC does actually have focus targets, whereas Classic didn't. So, but these, once again, these are not, like, new formats. It's just, like, if you weren't aware of focus macros, this is how focus macros work. Just /cast at focus and then the ability. So that's pretty cool, too. I might put a space there, just to be safe. But yeah, that's the basics with macros. Once again, just so you guys understand, I do the show tooltip. I go into the appropriate stance that ability requires. I use that ability, and I put a start attack on it. If it's a movement skill, like a intercept or charge, I will put a hamstring on there too. /cast hamstring. Now it's a two button press thing, so don't expect to be at range from somebody, press intercept, your character charge there, and apply hamstring. I mean, you have to press one time to charge, press second time to hamstring. Okay, but I think it should probably use the stance and then do the ability all at once. But that's because the stances are different, I think. But when in doubt, just spam the macro, right? And you should be fine. But yeah, that'll allow you to play with your buttons a little bit. Now, I will say that things like Cleave and things like Heroic Strike are not on global. They do consume your next auto attack, but they're not on global cooldown. So you can do things like do a show tooltip Cleave, cast Cleave, and either cast Execute, which I don't have. When I put 2 slashes there, that'll make it not do this line. So right now, it'll Cleave and it'll Mortal Strike if I have like enough rage to do that, which is really cool. So sometimes you have like so much rage and you're just charging into a pack and you just want to go kablam, Cleave, Mortal Strike. You know, that's pretty cool. Or Cleave, Whirlwind, whatever, right? You can go nuts with that. So those are the basics on macros. You guys can go and design a bunch of macros if you want to. Once again, you're just basically going to see me not having anything fancy, just the ability, the appropriate stance if it requires one, the appropriate weapon if it requires one, cast the ability, start attack. Okay, that's the macro basics. Easy peasy. Now for the final thing, which is something that people ask about a lot as well, I think that'll wrap up the video nicely, is my add-ons. So keep in mind, I'll be building out probably quite a few more add-ons as we go, okay? But I can show you the ones that I like and the ones that I have set up right now, which is the basics. I mean, I have DBM. I'm not really using DBM for anything, but right now, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'll put it on there because we'll use it eventually if I ever do any kind of rating. However, is this for Bagnon? Turn that up. There we go. What we're doing here is, let's just walk through, okay? Let's open up add-ons and walk through. Bag Brother and Bagnon, that's the add-on that makes my bags into one consolidated bag. I like that in Modern WoW. I like that in Classic. Easy peasy. Looks nice. Details is my damage meter down here. You'll see, you can look at your, all your party members. You can see how much damage they're doing. If you hover over their little pane, you can show the, what abilities are doing the most damage. It's just kind of a fun little thing that one makes PvE fun by having some meters to compete, and it gives you some data on, what kind of damage your certain abilities are doing, or like, whoa, I got hit really hard there. What happened? You can go and see what happened. That's details. Dominoes is what I use for my action bars. I use Bartender in Modern WoW, but then in Classic, for whatever reason, I found that Dominoes was like the first one that worked. So I was like, okay, cool, that's nice. I actually like Dominoes. It's pretty simple. Feels good. You can dink around and make your ability like not page, right? You can say disable all the paging so that they just stay the same, which is what I prefer. It's really easy to kind of scale them and move them around and stuff. So if you like the way that my bars look, then you can get Dominoes and tinker around with it a little bit. Maybe I'll make a more in-depth add-ons guide to exactly what I did, but it's really easy. Just kind of drag the bars around where you want, and then you can set your bindings by just hovering over and pressing the button that you want. Pretty simple. It's good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. I think some of the big ones are also going to be. So I just installed like weak auras. I have not set up any weak auras yet, but I do like playing around with weak auras for Modern WoW, so I figured we'd throw that in there. Item rack is kind of cool. It's what lets you hover over your gear slots and kind of pop out this. And now you can. There's a keybind that you can do to like pull, if I wanted to have my trinkets on like a swap all the time, don't remember the key button off the top of my head, it's probably like Control Alt R or something. You can actually pull like this little item slot like right, you know, anywhere on your screen, just hover over it and swap your trinkets quickly in like a BG, like if you want to swap your rocket helm or rocket boots, or you use your trinket, it goes on a 5-minute cooldown, so you want to put on your like crit trinket. That's the kind of thing that you can do if you just drag, like, you know, let me see if I can, it's like Shift R or something, Control R. Like I'm just gonna start pressing keybinds and see what happens. Probably gonna like tell my computer like, are you sure you want to shut down? Anyway, there's a keybind to I think I just did, there we go. There's a keybind to pull this out basically, and then you can like switch it on the fly, which is cool. But I also just like that I can hover over and switch my gear. That's called item rack. Oh yeah, I guess while I'm on the screen, pawn is this thing that shows you like, this is a % upgrade. This is a % downgrade. This is your best item for arms. That's through pawn, which is an add-on I haven't really used before, but I was like, hey, this seems cool. Threat plates, this is a big one. Threat plates is what I use to show my enemy nameplates above their heads with like debuffs. It makes it look nice. It's the same add-on that I use for Modern WoW. And funnily enough, interestingly enough, one of my threat plates profile was like, oh, crap, this is fresh. Like, what do? I actually just went to my threat plates video on Modern WoW, and I imported my profile into a new profile, and it works just fine in Classic. So that is very, very cool. So if you want the threat plates, just go to my Bajheera threat plates video on YouTube, or you can type !plates in my Twitch chat, and it'll link it to you in the chat. So yeah, threat plates worked fine for me. So I used threat plates in Classic, and I'm pretty sure I just popped my threat plates profile from Modern WoW into Classic, and it worked fine. So that's neat. All good. Like I said, I don't really use weak auras right now. Z-Pearl, I kind of like the classic look of Z-Pearl. Well, not classic, but it reminds me of me playing in like of Kata and Mists of Pandaria, which is kind of fun. But every time I try to join a BG, it says that it's giving it an error, so I have it disabled for right now. Maybe I can use it later on. And that's like all I'm using for now. So be advised, I will likely add more add-ons. Maybe I'll add like a frame add-on for this too. I kind of like... I might go grab the frame add-on that I used in Classic. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but I'm just going to go look at my Classic add-ons video and see if it's updated for BC. Make sure that you're getting the BC ones, by the way. That might give you some trouble if you're like, I'm trying to get threat plates, doesn't work. Make sure you grab the BC one. I'm using Overwolf for that. I think WoW Up is a good one too. Those two are probably good places to grab add-ons. Just easy peasy. But I think that kind of brings me to the end of just my sort of TBC Classic pre-patch update. Giving you guys not like a guide or anything about Warrior, but just want to let you know what my gear is, what my plans are, what my talents are, what my macros and add-ons are, just some basic overview ideas. So if you guys are curious what I'm up to, then there's that. I feel like I'm definitely down to make like a more in-depth Warrior guide. I just don't think a whole lot has changed from Classic in particular yet. But we are going to be getting Intervene and Spell Reflect and some fun things like that. I guess just one last thing to mention is, I guess for like my professions are kind of important, right? Right now I'm like mining skinning, just because I was just trying to scrape together some gold in Classic and I never swapped over to a crafting one. I'm absolutely going to go blacksmithing eventually. It's going to cost some gold to level up, but I'm going to keep mining. I'm going to drop skinning eventually. Maybe not for a while, maybe not while I'm leveling, we'll see. But I want to level up blacksmithing so I can make Thunder, Deep Thunder, and then eventually Storm Herald and go Mace Spec and just clank people in the head. That'll be the plan. Just a short little aside, but we'll keep talking about this kind of stuff. I'll keep making updates for you. You guys are always welcome to tune into the stream at twitch.tv/Bajheera. I stream every day. Half days of gaming on the weekends. We usually stop around noon on the weekends. On the weekdays, I go until 5 p.m. PST. I start off in the gym, as always, then we usually start in the gaming stream around 10. If I have a meeting, then it's for that morning. Then I start around 11. But that's how we do it. You guys are more than welcome to tune in. Very excited for TBC. Very excited to have you guys tune in, watching the videos, showing love. Let's keep pumping the content. Let's keep pumping it up as a team, as a community. And I will see you guys both on stream and next time in the videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to show the video some love if you enjoyed. Stay tuned. See you guys next time. Peace!